All right. 8 May 2022. This is the show here on JCTV Africa, Zim Social, and Zim Story. Wherever you're watching us from, you're watching us from Australasia, America, UK, Canada, or you are here in Africa, Zimbabwe, South Africa, wherever you're watching us from. Welcome to the show where we talk about political issues and what is happening in Zimbabwe. And we want to delve into the topic that we were talking about last week. However, we also have a big elephant in the room of the Zimbabwe shutdown Zimbabwe hashtag that has been growing in the past few days. We also saw there is the issue of transport, the issue of ZUPCO, and we saw yesterday the president addressing that in a number of issues. So we're going to be discussing a lot of that in our show today and other topics that are coming up, including the readiness of our political parties to host the 2023 election in a free and fair environment. So if you are here on this platform, you're also going to come in and be part of the show. We are going to open the line for you and also going to send you a link for you to be part of the show. So please, in the meantime, share this live broadcast, call a friend, and tell the friend to be part of the show so that we can begin the discourse. And to join me on the show today, I'm joined by Cooksman, who I had last week. My brother Cooksman, how are you doing?
No, I'm fine. Thank you very much for having me here.
All right. And our regular Mr. Mandaza, the ZANU PF spokesperson for South Africa. Mr. Mandaza, welcome to the show.
Thank you, and good evening to your viewers and listeners at the same time.
All right. And my brother, Brett Muveti, some of you have seen his videos online. He's also with us on the show. Welcome, my brother, to the show.
Thanks, Israel. Thank you for the invite. Much appreciated.
All right. So we want to, gentlemen, want to touch the big elephant in the room, the story of Zim's shutdown and what has been happening in the past few days, the issue of shortages of transport and what people are demanding to say we want better salaries and other stuff. What is your take? Maybe I'll start with my brother, Brett Mvet. What do you think about the Zim shutdown? What is your take? Do you think it is necessary for us to have it? And do you think the demands of the people are genuine and they should be listened by the government? Maybe in a minute before we get into our conversation.
Look, I think the situation in Zimbabwe, every little thing is warranted of some sort of protest or stay away. But to be quite honest, you know, the state of the economy when people are living from day to day, a stay away is not going to solve the person who needs food on their table tomorrow. So a lot of people won't be able to eat, won't be able to get any food. And what are you going to achieve? You know, again, it's a small microcosm of what's happening in the opposition in terms of participating in elections, etc., etc. What is going to be achieved by doing that? What is the end game of doing that? Yes, you're going to protest. Yes, some people are going to get maybe beaten or jailed, but what is going to be solved, generally speaking? Most of the protests are factional infighting by people who control business, and people who control business are related to the regime. So if you really think about it, there's no skin in the game for the opposition here. I don't know why it even affects the opposition. It should be something, it's internal fighting about making money. And it's always been like that.
All right. My brother Cooksman, what is your take? Do you think vanhu zvavari kutaura about the state of the nation, the issue of the transport and demands avanawo, are they genuine? Do you think this shutdown inofana kuitwa? What is your take on that?
Yeah, you know, the demands are genuine for real. But I think the shutdown even ikaitwa, impact yayo inogona kusava yakasimba sezvambotaura my brother Brett. Tiri nyika iri kurarama hand to mouth, and most of our people, they are self-employed. So this is why you see that even if mukati kuda shutdown, munhu anongotomuka akananga kana nyangwe kusina transport, anongomuka akananga kubasa kwake kana netsoka. Saka impact chaichai inogona kusavapo. So zvaingodadai vanhu vakabatana, even though tichirarama hand to mouth, but it's very unfortunate kuti as a nation tiri vanhu vedu vasina kubatana, kuti kana tine zvatiri kuda tinobva takangana kuti tikava ne collective action zvinogona kutibatsira kuti tiwane quick result, but then it is what it is.
All right. Mr. Mandaza, I saw your spokesperson, the Director for Information, Mr. Tafazwa Mkwadi, saying that there is not going to be any shutdown before our authorities are going to be working to make sure that it doesn't happen. What is your take on the proposal of the shutdown?
Thank you so much. I think Cooksman and Brett have given an indication of why it is not necessary for any shutdown to be taking place in the country, because it does not benefit anyone, neither does it benefit the government. I think an important takeaway from what Cooksman said is that if ever there are any challenges, there is need for people to unite and come together and proffer solutions for challenges that might be there. The route of going via stairways or shutdown, which is not possible anyway, is neither here nor there. It does not save anyone. But let me also add and say that if we look at who are the people behind the hashtag shutdown Zimbabwe, you might be surprised that the majority of them are sitting in the comfort of the splendor of their homes in the diaspora, and they are not involved in the day-to-day hassles that Cooksman spoke about. And those who are involved in the day-to-day hassles, they know exactly what is required from them in order to put food on the table. And one of those things is not at all a shutdown. And if I insinuate that there are people that are in the diaspora, in the comfort of their homes, what is their agenda? There is a mining endeavor that is currently going to take place in South Africa, where a number of heads of states are going to be there. And one would assume that this hashtag shutdown Zimbabwe is something that has been done by people for political expedience, since we have seen in the past that whenever we have a major international activity, such kind of shenanigans come to the fore, and they do not help Zimbabweans and Zimbabweans at all. Hence, we dismiss hashtag shutdown Zimbabwe with the contempt that it deserves.
All right. Coming to the story, to the main topic that we are talking about today, the story of opposition or even the ruling party. 2023 elections are upon us. Yesterday, we saw CCC sweeping about 7 seats, and these ruling parties, ZANU-PF, managing to clinch 1. But the question is CCC ready for the 2023 elections? And are we going to see a change? I'm going to start with you, my brother Brett. You spoke in some of your video and you said that CCC is not fighting for change. They are fighting for inclusion. And we should swallow that pill. It is a bitter pill. They are not going to be different from what we have with the ruling party of ZANU-PF. What is your take on CCC strategies and what is happening right now? Do you think that there is a better life for Zimbabweans after 2023?
Well, the strategy so far has been to repeat Zvakaitika kudhara since 2013, in fact. Pasina ma-reforms vanhu vanongoenda kuma-election. Vojigiwa, voti tajigiwa nekuti hakuna ma-reforms. 2018 woenda kuma-elections futi kusina ma-reforms. Voti tajigiwa nekuti hakuna ma-reforms. So 2023, people are going to be frog-marched kuenda kunovhota futi in an election isina ma-reforms. So one needs to ask the question is, if you are ready, we are ready for what exactly? Are you ready to become the eternal opposition forever? If that's what you're ready for, then yes, that's good. Let's go for elections. If you just want to have some seats in parliament here and there, maybe you control Bulawayo, maybe you control Harare City Council. Yes, maybe you've got a couple of MPs and each of them donate $500 to the party every month, and then there's the Political Parties Funding Act, you get some money from that. Yes, then go for elections. But if you want to rule, kana mchida kutonga nyika, if you want to have a good chance of that, then you have to try something different. You can't carry on frog marching people to an election that you know you're going to lose. And if you look at the statistics from 2013, 2018, 2023, I think the opposition will be lucky to get 20%. And if you carry on like that, I mean, what is the point? So the question depends on what are you ready for. If you are ready to become official opposition forever, yes, go for election. If you want more than that, then the strategy change.
All right. I see Cooksman here. He is eager to talk. What is your take as someone who is in the opposition? What is your take about what Brett has said? Are you guys ready? Are you doing what is enough to make sure that next year? I hear people are saying 6 million for Chamisa. Are you doing enough to galvanize your people kuti mupinde office in 2023?
Well, before I reply that one, I think I should just give a clarification on what Mr. Mandas was saying about my statement on the issue shutdown Zimbabwe. I was not saying something I was simply saying the shutdown, the demands, they are genuine and it must be shut down because the monopoly yanga ichiswa paZUPCO, even ndofunga iwo mutungamiri wacho weZANU vatozozviona kuti hazvisi necessary, ndosaka vaita reverse madecisions avakambenge vaita iwayo. Saka ini ndachitaura kuti ingori nyaya yekuti isu sevana veZimbabwe hatina kubatana zvekuti taikwanisa kuti tingozvivharisa ka1 kana pachiitwa machanges poitwa machanges. Saka zvisinei panyaya iri kutaura namukoma Brett, somehow he is saying the truth, you know, but I believe our leadership has got that into consideration because it's something isusu sema citizens sevanhu veCCC chinhu chatagara chitaura nezvacho tichitaura kuti no tavhota nguva yakareba tichibiridzirwa sarudzo idzi, saka panofanira kuti paitwe mareforms but tine dambudziko rekuti mareforms acho kuti aitwe process yacho inenge yakati kurei chaizvo. Saka iye zvino I'm just happy kuti our president Nelson Chamisa vakazoita chinhu ichi chevanhu. Ndosaka muchionawo isusu vana Cooksman we've joined the trial and tiri kungorovanidza mumwe nekokoko. So we believe that even pasina ma-reforms, but I believe they're going to fight kuti paitwe ma-reforms. Kunyange pakasaitwa ma-reforms, tikaenda kuma-election, this time I've got hope that tinokwanisa kuwina, because there's gonna be a collective, effort from all the citizens. Munhu wese ari kuda shanduko achange ane chaanenge achiita. Ndofunga tichatozoita zvokutorarira kana pama voting center. Yes, pama polling station tichatenge tine ma-blankets after tavhota, tomeka sure kuti mauye edu haasi kubiwa. Ma-polling agents edu achange aripo deployed everywhere, and there's gonna be a massive, tracking zvokuti nyange wakada kuba zvichatonyadzisa pasi rose, zvichangoratidza zvega kuti aiwa vanhu, because kumashure kwese uku vanga vachiba zvokuti even vakavhara international community yaigona kungozviona kuti hapana zvabiwa apa. But this time, even if they're gonna steal mavotes edu, zvichokwadi zvichaonekwa nemunhu wese kuti these people, they are cowards. And after that, we're going to take a very, very stiff action to challenge and protect our vote. So I believe voting is the first step that we're going to take, because we know that even if we demand what we call reforms, tikada kuenda kukoti yeZANU-PF, tikada kuita zvipi SADC yakanyarara because ma-friends eZANU-PF. Saka tasiwa tisina ma-options akawanda, so we have to utilize the options that we have. So we are going to go to the election no matter what, and we are going to make every single effort to make sure that 2023 we have a new government. Thank you.
All right, those are the thoughts from Cooksman. I'm coming to you, Mr. Mandaza, with ZANU-PF. Last week you said we had reserved a lecture for you, but anyway, the question is, and the question that people are always asking is, are you ready to have a probably kind of like a pact with opposition that there is not going to be there's not going to be violence that is we are going to be seeing being met on citizens? Maybe probably a litmus test that we can use is of the by-elections that we saw and what we saw yesterday with these other by-elections that were held, that we are seeing some traits of violence, and we saw the likes of Mboneni being killed last time in the elections of March. Are you promising as a party, what steps or what strides are you making to make sure that there is no repetition of what we saw in March, or even an amplification of what we saw in March come 2023?
ZANU-PF is ready for the elections. And the reason why we say that we are ready, it is because, one, we understand that the Constitution after every 5 years dictates that we should have elections. And whenever we are going to have those elections, we must prepare as a political party to make sure that we win the hearts of the electorate. And we believe that from what we are doing and what we have been doing, we have been able to win the hearts of the majority of the people. And we are moving with our hashtag 5 million votes by 2023 who are registered. And the reason why we are doing so is to make sure that we have an emphatic victory come 2023. And one of the things that we want to do away with is this trend where we have had what are known as disputed elections. And the reason why people tend to go into to dispute certain elections is the margin that they will be there. And this time we are saying we want a very big margin so that whoever wants to sleep by the polling station can do so, but cannot change the reality that the majority of the people would have voted for ZANU-PF. The period leading up to the elections is one of the things that the president has been religiously saying that it should be peaceful. And I think you have seen it ever since President Mnangagwa came into power. In his campaigns, he has not had the time to denigrate any of the opposition leaders, because he has a task whenever he goes out there to inform people of his programs, to tell people to be united, to tell people to live in peace and harmony. And this is what is our desire, that whenever we are going to elections and whenever we are living as a people in the country, there should be peace, there should be unity, because these are prerequisites for development to take place. So we can assure any opposition party that we will not be perpetrators or initiators of any violence in the run-up to the 2023 elections. That is our promise, and we want to make sure that these skirmishes that we have seen, they are not in our DNA. In our DNA, it is what I've already espoused: peace, unity, love, and harmony. And that's what we would want to see. Lastly, the issue of reforms that have been spoken about. Reforms, when people have been given a mandate to go to parliament, and MDC, before it moved into CCC, he had members of parliament in parliament who, if there was need for any reforms to take place, should have brought that to their attention and debated that in parliament. But the mere fact that they've been going to parliament and they've been quiet, they know that there is no need for the reforms that people always cry for. And that's why, once again, we are going to these elections with those reforms that were necessary in order to align the Electoral Act with the Constitution as it obtains at this particular time. So any reforms that are needed, the onus is on those who know what needs to be reformed to bring it to Parliament so that it can be debated. And unfortunately, they may be running out of time now, because there are so many other issues pertinent to the development of the country that they are dealing with in Parliament at the moment.
All right. There you go, viewers and listeners that are watching here on JCTV Africa. We are talking to three gentlemen that I'm with, Brett, Cooksman, and Mr. Mandaza from ZANU-PF, about the readiness of our parties to host the 2023 election. Is it going to be free and fair? If the ZANU-PF, they get beaten, are they going to accept? If CCC gets beaten, are they going to accept the defeat? I'm also going to ask that. And you're also welcome to contribute to this conversation on the comment section. You can also get in touch with us on the number that I'm going to put on the screen. So the goal is, let us talk and let us have this conversation. Let me come back to my brother Brett and say, you spoke about the things that we have in our country, that there are problems. Is the ruling party doing enough in order to make sure that they fulfill their election promises which they gave? And what can be done? You have criticized the opposition. What can be done in order probably to bring vibrant opposition parties that can challenge ZANU-PF, or that can unseat ZANU-PF come 2023? What do you think should be done by the people that are in CCC? What are your ideas that you can maybe say, if they do this right, then we can talk of a vibrant opposition? What are the things that you can point out to the people that are listening right now?
Well, the first thing we have to understand is that the leadership in CCC previously MDC, they don't take kindly to any advice. You need to understand that, first of all, any person who speaks up or against what the leadership say is normally suspended or expelled. That's just how it works. They've learned very well from ZANU-PF, and ZANU-PF has learned very well from the Smith regime. They have copied it. It's how it was done in colonial times. If you didn't like Ian Smith, you were told to leave the country or leave the party, and ZANU-PF has copied it, and MDC and CCC have done exactly the same thing. So, but if I were to give advice, you're talking of polling agents. First and foremost, if you need to pay someone who is a party member to sit at the ballot box to protect their vote, you are already at the wrong point. You should have volunteers protecting the vote, not someone who is paid. You mean to tell me that once every 5 years, when an election is held, a person who is loyal to the party, who attends meetings, who follows the constitution of the party, that person needs $20 or $30 to watch the vote? So first and foremost, that is wrong. The culture of paying people to watch a ballot box must end, and it must stop. However, the fact that you have to pay someone to watch the ballot box means that someone can be paid more by somebody else to not watch the ballot box. So already we have that problem. Secondly, you don't have accountability. Someone, I mean, if the leadership are sitting in meetings and they are discussing the way forward on these elections, surely within the leadership, if there's 4 of us, like 4 of us now on this program, let's pretend that we are leaders of our opposition party. So well, let's say Jethro is the president. He's sitting there saying, right, who is going to be in charge of reading the V11 forms? Then we say, no, Mr. Mandaza is the one. I think he can read the V11 forms. And Mr. Mandaza puts his hand up and says, yes, I can do that. Right. He is now accountable to read those V11 forms. If Cooksman says, no, me, I am the person who's going to be doing T-shirts. So I'm going to make sure that we have 100 T-shirts for every single polling station so that we blah, blah, blah. After elections, when Mr. Mandaza does not come with those V11 forms, he should be fired, but he isn't. In the opposition and in ZANU-PF, if you fail at your job, you are promoted, you are rewarded. There is no accountability. So without accountability, what are you going to do? So we talk of street protest afterwards. We talk of, we are going to do this, we are going to do that. But who in the opposition is accountable? For the last 20-something years in opposition, we have had the 2 main vice deputy presidents of the political parties are still somewhere in the deputy presidency of CCC today, after 20 years. Do you mean to tell me that someone who has served 20 years in a position and has constantly failed at 4 elections has something to offer going forward into the 5th election? That's just ridiculous. The definition of stupidity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. You can't do that. There are people in the opposition in CCC. Sell-by date yavo was 2013. That was their sell-by date. But in 2022, so to give all this advice, imagine kuti ndakaudzwa kuti ndiuye kumeeting ye-CCC ndopa advice yandabva kutaura ndinodzingwa ndichirohwa nemayouthis mukati imomo kana ndapa advice yakadaro. So that's the problem with the opposition. They do not take advice.
All right. I don't think Cooksman is enjoying this but anyway, we're going to come to you so that you can give your contribution to that. Talking about the strength of the opposition. So in other words, if I can hear you correctly, you are saying there is need for new blood in the opposition in order for them to feel that there is accountability. Is that what you're saying, Brett?
Yeah, look, basically that's what I'm saying. I mean, a lot of people will say, but Mveti, wewe unongogara uchitaura opposition, unogara uchingovenga opposition. Wakaita say, you don't say anything about ZANU-PF. Look, let me be very straight. ZANU-PF has failed consistently. I don't even know why we still talk about ZANU-PF as a party under the current leadership. If you want to see kuti nyika iri kufamba sei, enda kuZimbabwe unoona zvinhu zviri kuitika ikoko. That government should be ashamed of itself. Sure muri kundiudza kuti motorcade yapresident ine mota 40-50, but kuzvikoro pari kutadzwa kuiswa ma-IBR sheets echikoro, and you call yourself a government. We need to stop talking about what ZANU-PF is doing. We need to stop talking about ZANU-PF iri kufunge iri kuite, because they are a non-entity going forward in Zimbabwe. In ZANU-PF is like Rhodesian Front, vapera. The people who are controlling ZANU-PF, ma gangsters, ma mafia, they are business people. Politics, the people who are in control of Zimbabwe are people who import fuel, people who are car import licenses, people who are mining licenses, gold, diamonds. Those are the people who are in control of Zimbabwe. The politics could ZANU-PF, that is just a label pa mafia control Zimbabwe. So we shouldn't even be talking because nyika ya parara. There are 3 million people in South Africa looking for jobs. Varukushanda sema garden boy, varukushanda as waiters. They are highly qualified citizens. Vatiza nyika nekuti hakuna chinhu ikoko. So let's not pretend kuti ZANU-PF is an angel. In what I do is I refuse to concentrate on ZANU-PF because it is gone, it is failed. I concentrate nechinhu chinokwanisa kubvisa ZANU-PF. That is why I'm always talking about opposition, because opposition is the future. Future. That's why I give them a hard time, because the only way to fix it in the kutaura chokwadi. Saka chokwadi chandotaura ini chinogumbutsa vanhu, but it makes them think, and ndo aim yangu.
All right. I would like to have Mr. Mandaza respond. Cooksman is gonna come in, but I would want Mr. Mandaza to respond. What is your take about your election promises and what you have achieved so far as a party? Are you happy? We are just months away from the election. Are you happy with your election promises? Are you happy with the progress so far? I think we've asked this question last week. Are you happy? Because the president made a declaration that they were going to improve the health services. They were going to make sure that the health services are going to be better. Are you happy with the health services? We saw this past week there's been transport wars, and there was this unfortunate incident that happened on Tuesday, whereby a police threw a spike into a combi and people lost their life. Are you happy with the progress that you have made so far as the Second Republic?
Varusike, let me be blunt and say, to equate ZANU-PF with the Rhodesian Front, very disingenuous, because we are nowhere near the Rhodesian Front by definition or by any form. The Rhodesian Front was an evil creature that saw a lot of our people dying in Zimbabwe during the time they took over and ran the country. And for ZANU-PF, which is the party that dealt a big blow to the Rhodesian Front, to be equated to the Rhodesian Front, I think that's been disingenuous, and one might not exactly understand or know what the Rhodesian Front looked like and what it did to the generality of the people of Zimbabwe. Many people have scars, huge scars, and some of them are still trying to get to understand where their children went, where they died, and so on, because of the Rhodesian Front. And while people are entitled to their definition, I think to equate ZANU-PF with the Rhodesian Front, I think is stretching our luck too far. Let me also say that one of the things that we have seen over the years is that we have seen people focusing on removing ZANU-PF. And it was the mantra ever since the opposition came into being that ZANU-PF must go, ZANU-PF must go. The issue here shouldn't be about ZANU-PF going, but it should be about offering an alternative. ZANU-PF is the party that made sure that we have the kind of democratic space that we have, which allows opposition players to exist in the country. And the reason why they are in existence in the country is for them to offer or to proffer solutions or to offer an alternative if ever people decided to change what is currently there in terms of the system. But to then focus on removing ZANU-PF, surely it is misplaced focus, because we in ZANU-PF, we will continue to say that we shall not be removed, because we are a political party that seeks to rule and rule for a very long period of time, which we are going to do, because we believe from what we have been doing, we have been able to address the promises that, not promises, but the program that we put year in, year out. And this program that we put in is informed by the wishes, aspirations, and the desires of the people of Zimbabwe. That's why they vote for us, because it resonates with what they want. However, it would be foolhardy for us to say that all is rosy throughout. There are challenges in a number of sectors, and these challenges are as a result of issues that we have said in the past, and we will not overplay them because they are known to the majority of the people. Yes, we may talk about corruption, and now we can bring in the issue of COVID-19, which could have mitigated against what we intended to do over the last 3 years. And it is a reality that when COVID-19 came into place, it disturbed quite a number of programs, and focus was made on ensuring that we save the lives of the people. But as the Second Republic, we are happy with with what we are doing and what we have been doing in the past. It could be even in the health sector, because when we look at the statistics that are available throughout various countries, you will see that Zimbabwe fared very well in terms of trying to save its people, regardless of the fact that it did not get any donor funding, which was denied of us by people that did not want to see many of the Zimbabweans survive. And we managed to use the meager resources that we have in the country to save the lives of the people. Let us look at the agricultural sector. What happened last year when Fumbudza was introduced? We are reached a threshold where we could say we have now food security in the country. Unfortunately, the current season, we did not have the kind of rains that will ensure that we continue to have the same level that we had reached last year. But we have enough reserves to take people to the next season. We also look at dams. Look at the infrastructure development that is taking place in the country.
Mr. I don't think, Mr. Mandaza, I think, Mr. Rikike, you are giving Mr. Mandaza a lot of time to speak, and like what Brett has said, I don't think it's necessary even to give Mr. Mandaza, time to speak, because what he's saying, they're just lies, and we have to focus on things that matters, like what Brett has said. And I just love, I'm not gonna talk about what Mr. Mandaza is saying, because he's just talking nonsense. All those things that he's speaking, they are lies.
Let's be respectful.
Yes, we can be respectful, but we can't continue listening to Mr. Mandaza speaking nonsense.
And we need to keep the decorum that is supposed to be existing here. We can't come here and then be challenged by non-entities for that matter. If that is the case, there is no need for us to
listening on things that don't exist.
He is supposed to put his ideas in place rather than to bring in the kind of things that we have seen in the past. We do not want that. You are the moderator. If I have gone beyond the time, I will accept through you as the moderator. But for somebody else to interject and then try to put me to order, I think is not the right thing.
All right. Cooksman, I'm going to give you an opportunity to speak. Are you directing a question to Mr. Mandaza, or you want to respond to something else?
No, I was saying, I think I feel like Miss Manders is wasting time. To be honest with you, the thing that is talking about, I
So it's a question.
like
So it's a
what Brett
question.
is saying. Like
Hmm.
in fact, I want to interject. I'm sorry for that, but I felt like my time is being wasted listening to Miss Mandaza talking about development that we don't see as Zimbabweans. I'm in diaspora. I'm suffering. I wish I could be home, but he's talking rubbish. It pains me to see that he's talking these things. He's saying what he's saying, but us as citizens, we are the ones who feel the pain, you see, of this misgovernment by ZANU-PF. So let me now respond to Brett. Brett is talking sense, and I believe him as a citizen because our party is Citizens Coalition for Change, and his contribution is somewhat very, very important to our party. I think it's a very good concern that our leadership should take into consideration. And him as a citizen, it's about him, me, and other people, to bring up zvishuwo zvedu nemabvunzo edu nezvese zvatinoshuwa kuti zviitwe kuti tibvise ZANU-PF. Because to be honest, tikasabatana kana leadership ikasateerera zvinotaura macitizens, ticharamba tiine same problem like iri kuZANU-PF. Saka ndinoda kufara nokutenda chaizvo nezvataura Brett. There are things that need to be addressed kutriple C, and I just love the fact that my president ndakasangana navo and he assured me that zvichemo zvenyu tinenge tichizvinzwa ende tinozvigadzirisa. Saka like what Brett has said, there are a lot of things that needs to be addressed to Triple C, and it's just a matter of time. Zvinhu izvozvo I believe and I hope tichazoona zvichigadziriswa.
Okay.
For real.
Before. Okay. I want to allow others. I want to allow questions to come in. I'm gonna come back to you, Cooksman. I want to allow questions to come in from our viewers that are on the show. So I want you to hold that thought. I'm going to allow someone here to fire in. Here's a question. So let me just get them on the line so that they can talk to us, and then I'm going to come back to you, Cooksman. I've got someone on the line and they want to fire a question, I think to Mr. Mandaza, and then we come back to you, Cooksman. So as I'm going to allow them to come on the show, you can finish your what you wanted to say.
What I just wanted to say was that Brett is right. We shouldn't be talking about ZANU-PF, and you should even bring Mr. Mandaza on the show. Because, ZANU-PF is finished. We're just wasting our time talking about ZANU-PF. It's something that don't exist. We are talking of a gangster here. That is just, and we mustn't have a representative of gangsters wasting our time talking about what development can you tell us about.
But they are the ruling party, Cooksman, so we must give them time. Anyway, let me have the caller here. Hello, how are you?
Yes, how are you?
Good. Tell us your name and what is your contribution or your question. Can you hear him, my panelist?
Yes.
Yes. Fine, you man.
Yes, go ahead.
Fine. Yes. You know what is my problem now is that really I understand what Cooks is saying, but the problem with Cooks is that when you are talking on the TV, you are not talking to yourself, but you are talking to people. So you must allow Mr. Mandaza to speak everything which you want to speak. It is his right because we are listening to him. Then I don't support ZANU-PF and I don't support Triple C. Reason being, You see, ZANU-PF, I would be happy if Mr. Mandaza can be the spokesperson for ZANU-PF, because it's always when I am listening to him, there are some few senses in him. I really understand something. But come to ZANU is the whole. Come to ZANU-PF is the whole. Guys, you are doing messy. You are doing messy. You are doing messy. Why? Reason being, Mr. Mandaza cannot say Rhodesia was not the same as ZANU-PF. Reason being, guys, how many people died in the hands of ZANU-PF? How? Like now today, there's no medicine in hospitals. It means people are dying left, right, and center. That is the same. That is the same which was done by Rhodesia when they were killing people using guns. So we have to understand that, guys. ZANU-PF today is killing people. By the way, how many people died trying to cross to South Africa through the rivers?
Okay, I hear you, my brother. I want you to shoot right to the question. What is the question that you have, whether for Brett or for Cooksman? I want that question. I want to hear that question. Can you tell me what is the question that you want to direct to Mr. Mandaza? Can you just make it snappy?
Okay. One of the points which I want to give to Mr. Cooks is that, Mr. Cooks, are you aware that we have to listen to all of you? So if you are aware of that, why not allow ZANU-PF to speak to us? Again, Mr. Cooks, again, we want to know what is going to happen to CCC if ZANU-PF refuse to vacate the government, is what it has been doing for all along. Mr. Mandaza, to you, what are you going to do now? Because remember, your president is the one who said he refused to accept a defeat when Mugabe was even accepting it. So is he going to accept now if CCC have to win?
All right. So I get the question. Okay. I get the question.
And lastly.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. And lastly, this is out of context, but let me bring it in. ZANU-PF is complaining about the interfering of Britain into the politics of Zimbabwe, but the same party is interfering in the Zambian issue of bringing army from America to Zambia. What are they trying to tell us? Thank you guys for what you are doing. It's very, very important. I want to listen to all of you. Thank you.
All right. That is the question. Let me see. There is also another caller that is coming through. Thank you so much, my brother, for the contribution. You will listen on the show. Thank you. All right. We are going to have another caller, but maybe Mr. Mandaza, maybe Brett or Miss anyone, any takers to the question that has been raised on the floor. We have another question here. All right. Hello.
Hey,
yes.
Chan, how are you doing?
I'm doing okay. Your name, please, and where you are calling us from?
My name is Lawrence. I'm actually calling from Cape Town.
All right. Okay. Can you shoot right the question? Where is it directed to, so that we can allow the panelists to respond?
Okay. I just gave a little, not a question actually, but an advice to my other fellow Zimbabweans that are listening here.
All right.
For these things that Mr. Mandaza was saying, we are not people who are not educated in terms. We have been with ZANU-PF since we were born. They can't keep on telling us they are doing something, they are doing that, and they are eagering people to not to do according to the constitution. There are different ways of saying something, like what they are doing with the shutdown that's going to happen tomorrow. So they must stop telling us those things. They must stop telling us of all these years to tell us all those small things. It's a disgrace. It's a disgrace. That's my manager now.
All right, Mr. Mandaza, a quick one. Then I'll come to Brett. What is your response to the two questions that have been given to you? They're saying that you are not being honest in saying that in your conversation. What is your take on that?
Well, I'm being as honest as anyone can be possible. But the things that the ZANU-PF government is doing are clear on the ground. and those that are in the diaspora, they are free to go to Zimbabwe and see exactly what is taking place on the ground. We are not talking of things that are going to happen tomorrow, but these are the things that are currently taking place in the country. The choice is that of an individual to then say that they should have happened way back ago, or they are very small projects and so on. But the things that I'm talking about right now, road development, which is taking place, the attention to Wange Power Station, and the construction of the Guaishangana River, the dams that are being built, all these things that are real. That we are not talking of hearsay issues. But
Okay.
I think one of the things that we need to do as Zimbabweans, especially those that are in the diaspora, is not to rely on what we get through these platforms that we have. Once in a while, let us go home and see for ourselves. Then we can make an informed decision. Then the other thing that was asked is the issue of accepting results. The president has been very clear. If ever anyone was to win, there will be a smooth transition in as far as the government is concerned. So people that are going to be contesting, feel free to contest because you have been given that opportunity. But the assurance that we are also making is that we are not going to be seated while people are campaigning to take power from us. We are going to campaign to make sure that we retain power. And we are not in this campaign to lose. We are in this campaign to win. The issue of Zambia versus what is happening in Britain, the Zimbabwean parliament has never discussed the issue of what is happening in Zambia. And the comment that was given by the Zimbabwean government is that Zambia is a sovereign country. It can do whatever it can on its soils. It is the weather they are bringing AFRICOM or whatever. It's neither here nor there. Those that are on Twitter and any other platforms, they do not represent the views of the government. Yet the British government took the Zimbabwean issue in their parliament, and that is our gripe with the British government.
All right. Just a quick one. Thank you so much. Let me just give opportunity to Brett. What is your thoughts on what the other caller said? Any contribution to that, Brett? Before I give the next caller.
Look. The what I just wanted to also say is that a ruling party haikwanisi kungotaura kuti iri kuitira vanhu zvinhu because that's its mandate. You know, you are using the ruling party is using taxpayers' money that comes from mineral exports, money that comes from remittances from people in the diaspora. If it wasn't for the diaspora, that country would have collapsed by now. If you know, there's certain economic activities that people do, and that money goes to government. Saka zvekuti tiri kuisa road, tiri kugadzira zvikoro, hapana chinhu chinoshamisa ipapo. Those are things that need to be done anyway. Those are things that any decent government would have to do and not even brag about. Kuvaka bridge and so forth and so on. So the other thing I just wanted to mention is about the Rhodesian Front, comparing it to ZANU-PF. You know, the people who used to sponsor the Rhodesian Front, the business people that used to do sanction busting, they are the same people that went into ZANU-PF and have propped up ZANU-PF for all these years. They have helped ZANU-PF to get to where it is. They were the ones who sponsored Mugabe. They're the ones who are behind Ed. These are people that are business. That's why I say it's a mafia. It's not a political party. It's a mafia state. Those people are exactly the same people that supported the Rhodesian Front. So that is why I am saying they are exactly the same thing, because business, some people, they say, in politics, my differences, my interests in Doha. Those people are the same people that are controlling the ruling party as we speak right now. Sarah, in terms of question, with the caller, I'm not too sure. You know which question there wasn't a question directed to me, but to the other two esteemed panelists, the questions were addressed to them, so I'm not too sure how to reply to that one.
Okay, no, it's fine. Let's have another caller from Botswana. Botswana, tell us your name and what is your question.
Hi sir, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Yeah, my name is Maseko. I just wanted to find out from Mr. Mandaza. What I like about Mr. Mandaza is quite a mature guy. I don't support his party though, but I like the way he handles himself in terms of when he's being criticized. But my question to him is about the question of sanctions. ZANU-PF always talks about the issue of sanctions, but to my belief, I want him to correct me if I'm wrong. From what I understand, these are targeted sanctions for individuals, but I hear the song that Zimbabwe is under sanctions. I want him to clarify that part so that I understand that is it our country which is being sanctioned or it's targeted sanctions for the individuals. But other than that, I think to Cooksman and Brett, I mean, they're talking sense. He talks sense. I mean, he's an older, I respect him as well, but let's just give each other some respect. This is all about politics. We respect each other based on ages. I don't support his party, like I said, but let's just respect the man. I mean, he knows what he's doing. Actually, we'll take him in CCC when he gets in. Thanks a lot.
All right, okay. There is a vacance for you, Mr. Mandaza, in CCC. What is your response to that?
He's just a member of CCC, and I don't think he meant it when he said there is a vacancy. But two issues, I think. One that I want to clarify is why we always go back and talk about things that we have done. We have a responsibility as the ruling party, which is in government, as the ruling party, which have been given a mandate to go back to the electorate and account to them. And when we say the things that we would have done, it's a process of accountability, accounting, reporting back to the electorate so that they know what we are doing, where we are failing, and what we need to do in future in order to do to better their lives. And on the issue of sanctions, surely sanctions by their very nature, when they were given, they were said to be targeted. But what we have seen over the years is that these sanctions have missed their targets. And as you are aware, we have ZDERA and the executive orders that were given over the period. Some of them denied lines of credit to the government of Zimbabwe to the extent that we could not then borrow money from IMF or to all Bretton Woods institutions. And we have banks in Zimbabwe who tried to deal business on behalf of its clients who were fined by the British, by the Bretton Woods institutions, and America, for having engaged in business on behalf of people. So, if at all sanctions were targeted to the 159 people and the companies that were included, surely it would not have gone to the extent of denying lines of credit for things that needed to be done for the people of Zimbabwe. Right now, in the process during the period of these sanctions, we have not been able to buy spare parts, or businesses were not able to buy spare parts for their machines. Hence, we have lost so many companies in Zimbabwe because of their machines became obsolete and could not buy them outside the country. So there are a host of things that have happened which are as a result of sanctions, which people use the term targeted, yet in actual fact, even if we say targeted, these were people who are supposed to go and defend on behalf of the generality of the people of Zimbabwe. If they cannot do it, then the people in Zimbabwe will suffer. And we have seen it not only in Zimbabwe, but in the region. They've been affected by these sanctions.
Right. I'm going to come to you, Cooksman. Thank you so much, Mr. Mandaza, for that response. I'm going to come to you, Cooksman. Maybe this is my last question as we close the show. I have to let go, Mr. Mandaza. I said we should not go past 10 o'clock because he has another engagement. Anyway, I want to say, if ZANU-PF is going to promise that 2023 are going to be free and fair, and there is fair coverage on all platforms, no banned rallies, and CCC loses the elections, what are you going to do? Are you going to accept defeat and say, oh, well, we have fought and we have done our best? What are you going to do as an individual? I'm not speaking about as an individual who is in CCC. What will be your next options?
Well, you know, even if a donkey, or let me say a baboon, was going to be given a position to be voted as the opposition, with the current state of the economy and the hardships, in Zimbabwe, most people, the majority would vote for that baboon or donkey. Now we have got Nelson Chamisa, a potential, president. By this, I'm trying to say there is no way ZANU-PF can win an election on free and fair ground in Zimbabwe. Not because CCC is perfect, no, but just because ZANU-PF has failed for a long time. And now, as an advantage, what still as CCC, we've got a vibrant leadership. And by that, in fact, your question, we are going to win resounding.
All right. Okay. Brett, as we round up this show, what do you think about this whole show that we're talking about, and what do you think we should do as a country? You spoke about the issue of ZANU-PF, that we should not be talking about that, and you have said that you are going to give advice when need be. Do you think that there is need for a new political party that is away from the progenitors of MDC? And you also spoke about the issue of probably, I don't know if you can call them queen bees or the mafias that we are talking about. What can be done in the event that there is another government that comes into power to stop that from happening? Maybe having oligarchs or of some sort that are going to be controlling whoever is going to be in power from behind, and we're going to have a repetition of what we are crying now. What do you think needs to happen? Me and you as a citizen, what do you think we need to do?
Look, I think most of the citizens have voted with their feet and they've left. Anyone who wanted to do business, and me included, who wanted to do business on a free basis. In other words, let's say I wanted to open a factory and I wanted to do my business. You can't do that in Zimbabwe unless you are affiliated somewhere, somehow, to ZANU-PF through its army generals or ministers or somebody who's got something there. You can't get money, you can't get access to funding, you can't get access to import-export licenses. It is a politically controlled environment if you want to do business in Zimbabwe. So what has happened is the brain drain has occurred and people have left the country to go and start businesses in other countries. We have, I think is he the richest person, Strive, in Africa, and he had to leave Zimbabwe to become the richest person in Africa. I stand corrected, he might be second or third.
No.
So he is a Zimbabwean.
The one is Aliko Dangote. Okay, no, you can go ahead.
Yes, Dangote. Sorry, yes. So those kind of people all left. You look at most of the banking systems, most of the industrialists, there is, even in South Africa, there is a Zimbabwean somewhere, Aripo Ipapo. He may not be very, very rich, but he is well off and he's buying houses. And so we've had to take our talents out of the country, because if you're not politically aligned, you cannot function in Zimbabwe. So in terms of trying to get that country back to normal. I mean, even the land reform issue itself, you've got a land reform issue that has taken place, but no one has title deeds. So how do you expect Wanase Kurunambuya and all those people, how do you expect them to farm 5 hectares or 10 hectares if they don't have access to finance? The government's not providing finance. The government can't provide finance at that scale. Even as bad as ZANU-PF is, even a functional government would not be able to give 3 million citizens seeds and fertilizers and everything. It's just impossible. So why not give those citizens the title deeds to that land, so that citizen can say, okay, inini potato deed panapa ndokwenda kubank ndonotora 10,000 iyoyo ndo zvandicharimisa panapa, ndikatadza kubhadhara bank ichauya kuzotora ivhu rimwe rogotengesa kuti iwane mari yayo. This is simple economics. So inini, I don't really particularly like ZANU-PF. but I'm also not particularly in trusting CCC leadership, because I know I've had history in MDC. I've worked with these people. I can see where they're coming from. They're not wanting to change the system. These are people that voted to get a card to pass the toll gates, not to change the toll gates. Most of the toll gate money doesn't even go to fixing roads. But these are the people that when they were in the city of Harare, they were paying each other $100,000 a month in wages and stuff. These were opposition leaders that were doing this to their own people. So how do you trust those kind of people to lead the country when they finally take power? As Mr. Mandaza said, you can see in Parliament they have done nothing, because they don't want to fundamentally change the laws, because they know that whoever wins the election, if they have control of the land, that means they will have control of the rural voters. It's as simple as that. That's why there is no title deeds, and there will not be title deeds, because the minute you give someone a title deed, you allow them to vote for whoever you want. If they don't have a title deed, you can go there and say, mukasa votera panapa tinokuona imese, mukasa votera ZANU-PF panapa tokutorera ivhu renyu, tokutorera famu yenyu, tokutorera mombe dzenyu, mosara musina kana chinhu, mofa nenzara. So that is a fundamental change that MDC should have pushed from long back. As we can debate if land reform was was needed or not, we can debate if it was correct or not. That doesn't matter. We are talking about now. We are talking about the future. So we need to make sure that the citizens have title deeds so that they can mortgage that land. Simple things like that.
All right. Whilst you catch your breath, Brett, I'm going to allow Mr. Cooksman to, Mr. Mandaza to say his last word on this issue. What is your course of action as we are looking forward to 2023? Are you going to allow people to play in the playing? To exercise their right. But before I do that, let me just give another caller an opportunity so that you can respond once. Hello, caller, how are you?
Hello,
Ndinofara makadi zvenyu. Muri kutifonera muri kupi, and do you have a question or a contribution?
Yeah, ndiri kufonera ru Cape Town, ndinoitwa John Madamombe.
All right, okay. Go ahead.
Ndinongobvunzawo zvangu vamandaza kuti kana vachitiwo pane zvavari kuita munyika, tikatarisa ite zvinezvika, for instance, kwanga kune national railways yanga ichienda from Bulawayo to Harare, yanga yakaita kuti macost etransport ave chii chakaita kuti isashande. Question 1. Question number 2, ndinongonzwa ZANU-PF nguva zhinji vachiti opposition inounza varungu munyika kuti vazodzoka vazotitorera minda, vazoita sei, the blame opposition nenyaya yevarungu. Koma China ari kudzinga vanhu kuHwange, kuchiredzi, vari kuita sei? Machaina ayo chii? Zvizvarwa zveZimbabwe here zvavari kutorera vana veZimbabwe nyika vachipa machaina? Ndozvandinoda kuti vamandaza vatitsanangurirawo kuti zvii zviri kunyatsokuitika, because vanoblame opposition but ivo varivo vari kuunza machaina munyika achidzinga vanhu kunana Mutoko, kunana Kuzumba Marabapfungwe, vachidzinga vanhu. Vari kuzama kuda kuita sei?
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, my brother, for the contribution, for your question. I'm going to allow you to listen on the show. Mr. Mandaza, the platform is yours. 2 questions from the caller. And you wrap up. As you wrap up the show.
As I wrap up the show, the issue of the Chinese, I think we needed to get our facts right. The Chinese, when they are coming into Zimbabwe, they are supposed to do business according to the dictates of the Zimbabwean laws. And anything that is outside the Zimbabwean laws will not be accepted. And wherever there have been disagreement in terms of what they were doing as dictated by the law, it has been addressed. And the Mutoko issue that we spoke about, when the traditional leadership in Mutoko decided as a collective that the program or a project should not go ahead until certain things were put in place. The government intervened and made sure that the project did not go ahead until such time when the traditional leadership and the laws of the country are followed. The same happened in Wange. I remember it was in Tinde, where numerous Chinese who had been given a license, they also needed to engage the traditional leadership in Tinde, and as well as follow the dictates of the country. There is no way in which the government of Zimbabwe intends to bring up the Chinese to take over the role that our Eastern enemies were playing negatively at that particular time. And let me also hasten to say that it is not us who say that the MDC or the CCC will bring in wise or reverse the land reform. It is within their policies and in their utterances that people deduce what the caller said. We are not privy so much to what the CCC or MDC will do when they get into power, because they still have a long way to go in order to get into power. Having said that, the question here always arises, will there be free, fair elections? ZANU PF does not condone violence and any form of inhuman treatment of any of its citizenry. And as a result, it is on record that the president of the country, since the time that he came into power, he has spoken against violence, he has spoken against ill treatment of the people of Zimbabwe, and he has given a campaigning space for almost all the political parties. That's why in the last election we had more than 30, I think, political parties that contested during that particular time. This is the opening of the electoral space in Zimbabwe, which has been opened by the Constitution of Zimbabwe at the behest of the people parties that were in the unity government. And we will honor that and ensure that there are free, fair and elections in 2018 and in any other year that is going to come. And we want also to inform CCC and any other political party that is in Zimbabwe that we are not campaigning for losing. We will campaign to win and win resoundingly. That is our intention, and that is what we will continue to work for as the ruling party in Zimbabwe.
All right. On that note, ladies and gentlemen that are watching and the gents that are on the panel, I think next time we're going to have a balanced panel. We might also need to put some ladies so that we don't keep on speaking for them. Anyway, we have to wrap up this show, and I want to say thank you to everyone that came on the board. Obviously, we have not exhausted all the topics that we intended to speak about, but obviously we want to make sure that we keep the show short and space and for all our viewers that are around Africa that will be working on data so that they can also be able to watch the show and get information that they want to get. On that note, I want to say to my brother Cooksman, thank you so much for coming on the show, and my brother Brett Mvet, thank you for coming. Before I let you go, gentlemen, I want you to tell me your handles, where people can find you on social media. Where can people find you? Maybe I'll begin with Cooksman. Where can people find you on social media?
People can find me on Facebook. It's Cooksman Entertainment. They can also, go to YouTube, and there are a lot of songs and videos they can watch there. It's Cooksman Entertainment again. And on Twitter, they have to just type it at Cooksman M. They can also find me on Twitter. Thank you very much.
All right. My brother Brett, where can people find you on social media as we close?
Look, it's I got small platforms, nothing big. Facebook, type out Brett Mvet and it'll come up. There'll be an ugly picture that looks like this. That picture is there. and you know that you're on the right place.
All right. Mr. Mandaza, your handles, please, and where people can find you.
I'm not so sure whether I understand what you mean by handles. If you've been on is it on Twitter? I'm on Twitter. I'm on Facebook. I'm also on LinkedIn, and a host of other platforms that are associated with ZANU PF. You will find me.
All right. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming to the show, and to everyone that was here on the platform. I really appreciate your time, and hopefully we're going to have other engagements. And this week, I promise, I know it's been a Mother's Day week. We should have had a mother, and happy Mother's Day to everyone that has been watching. And hopefully this coming week, we're going to have a mother in honor of the women that are in our life. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming to the show. Hopefully we'll see you next week.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That
was Brett. All right.
Thank you, comrades.
Thank you. That was Mr. Mandaza Cooksman, Brett Mveti coming to the show. And you that was watching on JCTV Africa, I appreciate your time and your thoughts and your comments. Obviously, I have many people, I have calls that are coming and messages. I'm going to read some of them before I shut down the program, and I can see some of your comments that you post on the platform. I can see here there's Henry Makoyana. Mr. Mandaza does not understand why are you in South Africa if there is if Zimbabwe there is no crisis. That is this Andrew Makoyana. And who else is here? Tapua K. ED speaks against violence, but his actions are full of violence. Don't insult our intelligence, Mr. Mandaza. Obviously, he has responded to some of that. But anyway, I can see your thoughts. Let's keep the conversation going on social media. We are going to continue talking about that. Let me read one of the comments here from someone who is in Holland. Let me just give him a call so that he can say his thoughts. I don't want to shut him down. His name is Rutendo. Let me just have him on the show. Just a quick few minutes as we close the show. Hello. Yes, how are you, sir?
I'm fine. How are you?
Good. Sorry for our guest had left because I had Mr. Mandaza. He had other engagements. We're not supposed to even go past 10. So, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I wanted to say something. You know, I just wanted to say, Kuti, I think what we Zimbabweans and Zimbabweans who are living in Zimbabwe itself, what we are asking for, it is not too much. You know, people, they only want bread and butter on their tables, and people, they only want to have food on their tables. They want to have jobs. And if ZANU PF itself, they promised all this way from the time when Robert Mugabe was there, taken over by Mr. Mnangagwa himself, and there is no one company. You know, I grew up in Mutare. I grew up in Sakuba myself.
Okay.
In the 90s, you know, you could see people flocking to go to the industries to work, and you could see people coming back after work. You know, you could see the smiles in the people's faces, and you could see every Friday when they get their salaries, and some of them, they were getting salaries on Friday, some of them, they were getting salaries in the end of the month. You know, you could feel the joy which people had, and that is what we are only asking as Zimbabweans, that basic life food nayo in the 90s, which are pre-independence, and if you could remember, you know, the first strike yakaitwa mu Zimbabwe when a bread became $1, if you could remember that.
Yeah.
You know,
And people, they why did the people went into the streets over that? Just because they saw the road which we are taking and the road which the government which is taking us, it's not okay. And from that moment, it was only power hungry, me, and me, and me alone. And that is also my type of indication. If Nelson Chamisa himself is saying he's a brand new boy and he's a brand new party, they have to come to the people. They have to come to the people with a manifesto. This is the people. That is what I have, and I want to bring back. Don't promise us too much things, huh? People would what I have here, it is like I'm going to bring bread and butter, and I'm going to bring investment companies like National Railways. National Railways. You could hear, it is. There was this machine which was going to. It was 10 to 7, and everyone knew that it is 10 to 7. And then after 10 minutes, you could hear again 7 o'clock. Everyone is starting work. The same in the afternoon. It was 10 to 1. That machine goes again 1 o'clock. It's lunchtime, and then at 2 o'clock it starts again. That is that life of that people. They were just doing their own business, and they are going to work. And I ask a kid, Zimbabwe, a kid who grade 7, he cannot read and write. But when I started grade 1 until grade 7, and when I was grade 3, I could read and write English already. And those kids, they cannot do it anymore. They cannot do it. And if we could, if these political parties, and if even like ZANU PFC itself is hearing one, they are not asking a lot. They are only
in other words, you are saying we just want a working economy whereby everyone has got an equal opportunity and people can be able to work. And if that is met, they wouldn't be looking for an alternative or an opposition party. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, in an economy which works, yetiskumira kuti ndikapinda muoffice mandingi kuti boss ndidhindirewo chidhindo changu ichi, and then ndosiya envelope. Hey boss, ndidhindirewo chakazodai ndoda passport, and then ndobudisa envelope. No. We only want good economy yacho ingo function. And then if you see economy in Zimbabwe function, and then people, they are going to school, my teachers, they are teaching, hospitals, they are functioning. I can tell you, there's a school, Pamtare. If Mr. Mandaza, I was listening to the conversation which Mr. Mandaza is always telling platform yenyu, and then I cannot imagine that a normal person who is really normal and think that ZANU-PF is going really good. There's a school, the chancellor, it is in town. And between, if I'm not mistaken, between that school and the next school in Sakuva, there is about 20 kilometers. Between that road, between that space, there is no other school. Then I think Mr. Mandaza is coming there last time, he's saying, ZANU-PF is building schools, ZANU-PF this. Then I think, please don't say this. I know that he is really forced. He cannot say that, my party is ZANU-PF, please. Just because he's eating with it.
Anyway, my brother, let me wrap up the show. Definitely, I'll give you first preference when we start the show next week. I hear you, and your contribution is much appreciated. And I definitely get what you're saying, that we need a working economy for us to say We don't need much. We just want a working economy where everyone has equal opportunities and they can work and their health system is functional. Thank you so much for that contribution.
No problem. I just want to be in the discussion, and then I've been receiving some some Zimbabweans really who are coming here to Holland. And another day, recently, 2 weeks ago, I received a guy from he was a former chairperson for ZCTU.
Mr. Mutasa.
Mr. Mutasa. I was with Mr. Mutasa 2 weeks ago. He was here in Holland.
Okay.
And the lady who is now the chairperson for ZCTU, Mrs. whoever, I'm forgetting her name.
Okay.
Yeah, I was with them, and we were talking. We were talking about the livelihood of Zimbabweans, and then unfortunately in my office we have these bills. My $20 and so $10 a red year, $5 a green year, and I was showing this lady that, do you know this money? And then she said, oh, I've never seen this money. And me and Mr. Peter Mutasa, we were looking at each other and then we were laughing like, this is the life which we have now, that they did not know, nobody knew now who is in Zimbabwe 20 years now, 30 years now. They did not know that we had a functional economy way back.
Yes.
In $2, and then that economy was good and was functioning. Everybody was happy. I could tamba bhora ndobana pasi, and then this skin yepamberi yobvisika, and then you could run to the hospital. Apana munhu aimbokubvunza kuti ndipe mari yekuti ndibandage chii, waitobhandagewa very fast wotoenda kupa.
Yes.
This is what we wanted.
Yeah.
That is what we want.
Yeah. Anyway, my brother, let me just close the show and then we can continue the conversation off air.
No problem.
All
no
right.
problem.
All right. That is my brother Rutendo from Holland giving us his thoughts on the state of the economy back then in his days, in their heydays where things were right, and giving us that thought. That is all that I have for you, ladies and gentlemen that are watching. Thank you so much for being participant in this show. Hopefully, next week we're going to try to have ladies on the show. So if you're a lady, you are in politics, please get in touch with me on the numbers that are scrolling down the screen so that you can be part of the show. Whatever show we're going to put up during the course of the week, you can be part of that show. I can promise you that, so that we can have a balanced conversation we also want to have human representation in our conversations because they also form the fabric of our society. So it is important for us to include them in our conversations because we cannot continuously make decisions for them. They also need to be part of that decision making. So we need you in this conversation. I also want to say to my sister, Truth Lady, thank you for coming, and she's my supporter there from Ireland. Thank you so much. Forbes Musarurwa, thank you for coming on the show. Rutendo Mandea. I also saw Tendai Matutu, the former MP for MDC, who is now back in ZANU-PF. I saw you. I see you. Anyway, you can be part of the show. The line is open. I'm always open for people to come on the show. So thank you so much for coming through and for giving your thoughts and your contribution and sharing the live with your family and friends so that we can have that discourse in this. And did you enjoy the show? If there is anything that you want us to talk about, please feel free to get in touch with me, and I am always open for us to have that conversation to say, okay, I want to talk about this on the show. I want to talk about this on the show. The show is yours. It is officially yours. You can detect what we need to talk about on the show. So that is also a clarion call to everyone to say, if you want to be part of the show, if you have got a topic, a burning topic that you say, we are neglecting this kind of topic, please let us know so that we can tackle that show and we can bring relevant authorities here on the show with no fear, no favor. On that note, it has been a pleasure to be your host, and it has been a pleasure to talk about what is happening. And we're going to be monitoring what is going to be happening tomorrow, and probably are going to have a guest tomorrow. I still have to confirm. I think it is Reverend Shanganya tomorrow is going to be part of the show. We're going to be talking about the shutdown, whatever the outcome of the shutdown tomorrow. So please don't miss that. We're going to be alerting you on our platforms. So get ready for that. Thank you so much for watching. Have yourself a good night, good morning, and good vibes. See you next time.